I'm going to ask you again, will you give to this committee your public posts on Twitter? Will you make them available to this committee?
My social media is in my personal capacity.
Mr. Chairman, I have to tell you, this is the most extraordinary thing I have seen in my brief time in the Senate. I have never seen a witness blatantly lie under oath like Dr. Shogan has just done to this committee, stonewalled this committee, and just repeatedly refused to answer my questions about her own posts that are in public.
Before we begin, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications because you won't want to miss the biggest political hearings happening in Washington. Breaking: Senator Josh Hawley accuses Archivist nominee of lying under oath during explosive Senate hearing. What started as a routine confirmation hearing quickly turned into one of the most intense Senate confrontations in recent memory. Senator Josh Hawley repeatedly challenged Archivist nominee Dr. Colleen Shogan over her past social media posts, accusing her of refusing to answer direct questions and even alleging that she misled the committee under oath. By the end of the exchange, Hawley declared he would oppose her nomination, saying he had never seen a witness stonewall like this before. Let's break down exactly what happened and why this hearing is making headlines across America.
The post, you remember December 10th, 2020, where you said that you were hoping that President Trump would have his vetoes overridden, and you agreed with the post that he was a weak policy president. Is that a post about your dog or sports teams or mystery novels?
My social media is in my personal capacity.
What about your post on January 5th,
Senator Josh Hawley confronted Archivist nominee Dr. Colleen Shogan during a heated Senate confirmation hearing, questioning her about past social media posts, alleged inconsistencies in her testimony, and her responses under oath. In this video, we break down the exchange, examine the key moments, and discuss why the hearing has sparked debate about transparency, public accountability, and the confirmation process. If you enjoy political news, congressional hearings, and conservative commentary, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video.
Dr. Shogan, when you were here last year, a number of senators asked you, including me, a series of questions about articles you'd written, public statements you had made on social media that were, I have to say, pretty grossly partisan, and I thought offensive, and you and I went back and forth about it. After that, a number of us asked you questions for the record relating to these statements. I want to follow up on one of them. I, in particular, asked you to give us a full accounting of the public posts that you had made on Twitter. You had locked your Twitter account before you came before this committee. It had previously been public. I asked you to provide the public posts that had previously been available on Twitter because the ones that we have were pretty disturbing. You responded as follows, and I quote, "My personal Twitter account is comprised of posts about my mystery novels, events at the White House Historical Association, Pittsburgh sports teams, travels, and my dog," end quote. Is this an accurate statement?
Yes, Senator.
I just remind you you're under oath. Is this an accurate statement?
Yes, Senator.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your Twitter posts then that I was asking you about. On February 18th, 2022, you posted on Twitter bemoaning the dropping of mask requirements for children, including those under the age of 5. Do you remember that post?
No, Senator. Those tweets were in my personal capacity.
No. I asked you, would you give all public posts that you had made on Twitter? You said no, effectively, and you said that your Twitter posts consisted of mystery novels, events at the White House Historical Association, Pittsburgh sports teams, travels, and my dog. And you just told me now under oath that you stood by that. So now let's talk about your Twitter posts. On February 18th, 2022, you posted bemoaning the fact that mask requirements for children under the age of 5, one of whom I happen to have, by the way, had been dropped. Is that a post about your dog or sports teams?
My social media is in my personal capacity,
Answer
Senator.
my question, please, because you've testified under oath that you only posted about your dog and sports teams and novels, and you also said you wouldn't give this committee any of your public posts. So, is your post on February 18th, 2022, bemoaning the lifting of mask requirements for children under the age of 5, who I might just ask, all of the data has said is extremely harmful to children, these mask requirements? We'll leave that aside for now. Is that a post about your dog or sports teams? Yes or no?
My social media is in my
grounds of the Library of Congress, and you say that they ought to be removed. And you go on to give this person advice about how to complain and have them removed. Do you remember that post?
My social media is in my personal
Do you remember the post?
capacity. My
Do you
social media
remember
is
the
in my
post?
personal capacity, Senator.
I have to say, I have been here for 4 years in the Senate. I have never seen a witness stonewall like this before. Never. And I've seen a lot. This is extraordinary. Do you remember this post? December 3rd, 2021.
My social media is in my personal capacity, Senator.
I mean, this is unbelievable. And you want to be the archivist of the United States. You lied to us under oath. You lied to us in your QFRs. You just lied to me a second ago under oath. And now you're sitting here stonewalling, not answering questions about public posts that you've made. Are you a lawyer, Ms. Shogan?
No, Senator.
Are you familiar with the Shirtliff case at the United States Supreme Court?
No, Senator, I'm not.
Well, in that case, the Supreme Court held that, in fact, it constitutes viewpoint discrimination for a government entity to remove religious flags from its property when it's opened up the property to allow other people to put flags on it. Exactly the question that you were addressing in your public posts on Twitter. You're giving legal advice, which you're not qualified to give, directly contrary to the United States Supreme Court. I just wonder, does this have to do with your view that you wrote about that the religious right is connected to the rise of anti-intellectualism in American politics? Is that why you said what you said about religious flags, that the religious right is a force for anti-intellectualism? Explain that to me.
No, Senator.
Do you stand by your comment that the religious right is part of the rise of anti-intellectualism in American politics?
Senator, that article was written. It was about how Republican presidents use common sense terminology to effectively communicate with Americans.
Yeah, in which you said that the religious right, the rise of the religious right is part of the rise of anti-intellectualism in American politics. I just point out that's the article in which you say anti-intellectual, the title is Anti-Intellectualism in the Modern Presidency, Republican Populism. Very nonpartisan. Dr. Shogan, I'm going to ask you again, will you give to this committee your public posts on Twitter? Will you make them available to this committee?
My social media is in my personal capacity.
Mr. Chairman, I have to tell you, this is the most extraordinary thing I have seen in my brief time in the Senate. I have never seen a witness blatantly lie under oath like Dr. Shogan has just done to this committee, stonewalled this committee, and just repeatedly refused to answer my questions about her own posts that are in public. For these reasons, I will oppose your nomination, and I strongly, strongly urge this committee to take action on this and force this witness to own up to the fact that she is misleading us right now before our eyes, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Josh Hawley wasted no time getting to the issue that had clearly been bothering him since Dr. Colleen Shogan first appeared before the Senate committee. Hawley reminded Shogan that during an earlier hearing, senators had questioned her about what he described as partisan and offensive public statements she had made on social media. According to Hawley, he later requested a complete accounting of her public Twitter posts. Instead, Hawley said Shogan responded by describing her Twitter account as mostly containing posts about mystery novels, White House Historical Association events, Pittsburgh sports teams, travel, and her dog. That answer became the centerpiece of Hawley's questioning. He began reading several examples of public posts that he argued contradicted her description. First, he referenced a February 2022 tweet criticizing the removal of mask requirements for young children. Hawley repeatedly asked whether that tweet fit her earlier description of posting about sports, travel, novels, or her dog. Rather than answering yes or no, Shogan repeatedly responded that her social media was maintained in her personal capacity. Hawley wasn't satisfied. He continued with additional examples, including posts supporting an assault weapons ban, comments involving Senator Ted Cruz, criticism of former President Donald Trump, and discussions surrounding the 2020 election. Each time, Hawley asked whether those political posts matched the description she had previously given the committee. Each time, Shogan answered that her social media was personal. The hearing became increasingly tense as Hawley accused the nominee of refusing to answer straightforward questions despite being under oath. One of the sharpest exchanges came when Hawley raised a December 2021 post involving religious flags displayed at the Library of Congress. According to Hawley, Shogan advised another social media user to file complaints seeking the removal of the flags. Hawley then cited a Supreme Court decision that he argued reached the opposite legal conclusion, questioning whether Shogan had been offering legal advice she was not qualified to give. He also brought up an academic article she had written discussing what she described as anti-intellectualism in modern American politics, specifically questioning her criticism of the religious right. Shogan responded by saying the article discussed how Republican presidents used common-sense language to communicate with Americans, but Hawley continued pressing her about the article's conclusions. As the hearing reached its conclusion, Hawley made one final request. He again asked whether Shogan would provide the committee with her public Twitter posts. Once again, she answered that her social media was in her personal capacity. That response prompted Hawley to deliver one of the strongest closing statements of the hearing. He accused Shogan of misleading the committee, alleged she had lied under oath, and announced that he would oppose her nomination. Hawley also urged the committee to take further action regarding what he viewed as a refusal to answer direct questions. Supporters of Hawley's performance argue that nominees for important government positions should fully answer questions from the Senate and be transparent about their public statements. Others may see the exchange differently, arguing that personal social media activity should be viewed separately from official government service or that the questioning was overly confrontational. Regardless of where you stand politically, this hearing demonstrated just how contentious confirmation battles in Washington have become. It also underscored the importance senators place on a nominee's public record and willingness to answer questions under oath. Now it's your turn. Do you think Senator Hawley exposed serious credibility issues during this hearing, or do you think Dr. Shogan was treated unfairly? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown of today's biggest political